So grief is a very poignant topic for coaching. I work with people experiencing grief on quite an in-depth level, and also inject energy into that process, where the grief process starts to actually add to someone's character, add to where someone is going, where it adds substance and depth and meaning, and that person can actually cope better in their life. So fundamental to a coaching process around someone who's grieving is an emotional container. You know, we, somewhere along the line, made up our minds that we need to do things on our own. And life doesn't work like that. But often because of our pace, our family constellation, and what societal norms are, we largely process things on our ace. And there's a limitation in that. So good coaching around a grief process involves an emotional container. So just like you would have a Tupperware that you would put your sandwich in before you go to graft in the morning, we need to have emotional containers to hang out in. A space where we actually feel safe, relatively contained, like we're not going to fall to pieces, like something's got us, like it's going to be okay in the midst of that intense pain. So emotional container is typical of a good coaching program. How do we design an emotional container? Three things involved in emotional container. One, a hyper-awareness and permission to actually feel what you feel. The deep and fundamental permission to feel pain. Most of us want to get away from discomfort as soon as we can, and we distract. And of course there's a limitation to that, because why? We have to come back to that. The second aspect of a grief process is very much around your body state, your lifestyle, and how you set up a somatic emotional container. In other words, how do I keep it together to support myself while I'm facing these intense feelings? And the third component is, how do I engage with people around this who can contribute to me? How can I be receptive to support, and what are the different supports available to me? So instead of going it alone, it's really around this emotional container, which involves how I am with myself in my physical state, how that can support me, who I can resource and receive from, and the feelings of feeling safe and contained, feeling like it's going to be okay. How do we build a scenario for you such that you can sustain this process as opposed to avoid it or fall to pieces in it? So grief is actually a very healthy process because it brings us closer to ourselves and it brings us closer to our world. However, we need a model to operate in for that to happen in a healthy way. Otherwise, grief can be quite tricky. So good coaching is really around embracing that in a practical and outcomes-based way, as opposed to an ad hoc response to it.